We finally got a bit of an explanation around The Last of Us Online. Now, this is an explanation that we already heard before from Naughty Dog themselves, you know, just talking about how they didn't exactly have the resources to support a live service game, and it would have taken too much away from their initiative to make single-player games. But now we have a bit of insight from the former PlayStation Studios boss, Shuhei Yoshida. So, this is coming from Push Square. Quote, as part of an interview with Sacred Symbols Plus, ex-PS Studios boss Shuhei Yoshida revealed that he played the game and it was great, referring to Last of Us Online. Quote, the idea for The Last of Us Online came from Naughty Dog, and they really wanted to make it, he explained, but Bungie explained to them what it takes to make live service games, and Naughty Dog realized, oops, we can't do that. If we do it, we can't make Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet. So that was a lack of foresight. Yoshida continued that, to his knowledge, no first-party studio has been forced to make live service games. He noted that sometimes teams see the direction the company is heading and pitch their titles accordingly. Quote, from my experience, when studios see the company has a big initiative, they realize riding on that gives them a better chance of getting a project approved and supported, he explained. It's not like current PS Studios boss Herman Hulse is telling teams they need to make live service games. It's likely mutual. Yoshida then simply concluded, yeah, it sucks, referring to the cancellation of, like, Last of Us Online and just, you know, the live service stuff in general. And that really is a shame, man. You know, I've said it before, I'm not huge on online games, right? Like, I play Call of Duty a lot, always have, always will, but in terms of, like, other live service games, that's just kind of like my main bread and butter. I don't dabble with a whole lot of other live service games. That being said, Last of Us is one of my top 5 games of all time. Last of Us Part 1 and 2. I'm sorry, there's Part 1 and Part 2. They're called Part 1 and Part 2 for a reason. You can't have one without the other, man. I love both those games, no matter the controversy. But, you know, also getting something like Last of Us Online, I honestly would have really dug that. Again, not always huge on online games, but I would have been really happy to experience it, and who knows, maybe it could have actually sunken its teeth in me. It just sucks because they already made so much progress on developing it, and then it just kind of, you know, just kind of fizzles out and just kind of gone with the wind, which is the unfortunate reality of a lot of these canceled projects, because no matter how much work was done to them, they essentially become lost media unless, you know, it gets leaked out for one reason or another, which, to that extent, you know, it's also a shame sometimes when things get leaked out, because certain things that get leaked out that shouldn't have been leaked out sometimes get out in the public, especially when it comes to personal information and such, so that isn't always the best, but I will say, as somebody that just loves video game preservation and the history of video games, and just selfishly wants to see what this project could have looked like for the next generation of The Last of Us, because, I mean, we've kind of had a look at what the next generation of The Last of Us will look like with The Last of Us Part 1 remake, but we haven't had a fully original Last of Us game, obviously, this generation outside of Part 1, so I would have really liked to see this, but, you know, it's cool to hear that at least it would have been fun, it would have been cool, but we'll never get tried for ourselves, unfortunately.